we have a full hour of new announcements where we will have about 10-15 minutes per game and a little bit more at the end. We will give you a lot of insights about these 4 new games, but also you will understand what I was referring to earlier on when we discussed about the idea of carefully mixing original IPs, so owned properties, licensed games, and completely new franchises. There's a bit of all of these things. There's magical spells, there's Spitfires, there's armored units, there's distant planets. You will see a load of different things over the next hour or so. So stay tuned for the next hour because it's going to be really exciting. Well, the first thing I have to say, I will just say using a little trailer that represent very well what I'm just saying. Let's see.
Old man, you seek the spell of mastery.
You have come too late. My work has already met with success.
If that is the truth, then your work must stop.
Incantus espora igminius sanguine.
And here it is, the first reveal of Master of Magic. We acquired the Master of Magic IP about 2.5 years ago, and there is already a lot of ground that we could cover about this game. We have partnered with one of the most outstanding development teams for this genre, the Thea the Awakening team, Muha Games, and we are going to have a quick conversation with Muha Games today. But before we get to that, we have prepared a short video of like a recorded interview that will cover some of the basics of the game and what we are planning to do with Master of Magic. Before I get to that, let me tell you that Master of Magic is an important property not only for Slytherin. It's the heritage of the video games industry. It's bearing with its name, you know, how the strategy genre started as a whole. So it is important for us that we treat it in the best possible way. We will do our best to deliver a game that is absolutely true to the roots of the franchise, but also delivers on innovation and stays, you know, true to what strategy gamers are used to these days. Let's play a little interview video and get back to the stage just after that.
Hi everyone, I'm Mila Ondro, or Yuki from Muha Games, and we're the studio working on Master of Magic. Master of Magic is a classic of the turn-based strategy genre, and it is our goal to bring back this gem from the 90s to a modern audience. Set in the fantasy worlds of Arcanus and Mirror, Master of Magic features a variety of creatures and peoples such as elves, dwarves, trolls and dragons. The player actually takes on the role of a great wizard, destined to crush all opposition, all for the ultimate title of the Master of Magic. As a Polish indie studio with 2 titles, Muha Games are not new to the genre. Both Thea the Awakening and Thea 2 the Shattering are in part fantasy 10 based strategy games with a lot of similar elements and themes in it, so that's probably why we were so excited to work on Master of Magic. In order to remain faithful to the original, we played, and of course continue to play, a lot of the game, just to see what made it great. And of course the real protagonists of the original Master of Magic are the wizards and their spells. With that in mind, you get to choose what magic book your wizards get to use, what traits they get, and what race they control at the start of the game. Master of Magic isn't just about managing your cities, armies, and diplomacy. The key to victory really is your spell power and magic. So the spells in the game are immensely powerful. You can do anything from summoning an army or a mythical creature, or buffing your units, doing direct damage, or even global effects. Players begin in either Arcanus or Mirror, and will attempt to either defeat all the other wizards or cast a spell of mastery. And of course all the other wizards have the same objective and will compete for it. Our main design objective is to remain faithful to Master of Magic while enhancing the underlying systems. So one of those changes is changing from square-based maps to hexes, which we do feel offer a better, more flexible gameplay. And another one is the wizards themselves, and they got a great facelift from our talented art team. Master of Magic is currently in early alpha, but we can't wait to share more details with you as we get on. So be sure to join us on the Mucha Games Discord channel or the Slytherin forums for all the upcoming news about Master of Magic.
This is really exciting because, you see from the logo itself, we try to recreate that old feel but modernizing, and that's exactly what will happen with the franchise. So let me connect with Mila, and after we recorded Mila, we'll have live Mila. Hello, Mila.
Hi.
Hello, listen. It's exciting, right? So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, how does it feel working on the Master of Magic franchise?
Well, it's definitely a lot of pressure. So it's different from what we've done before, and you get the weight of working on such a beloved title and a beloved IP. So there's that, but it's a great experience. Yeah, I think so far it's been a really good one. So yeah.
Are the team fans of the original Master of Magic? Are you playing it?
Oh yeah, we're definitely playing it a lot. Some of us have played it back in the day. Not everyone, because I guess some of us missed the boat back in the 90s. I'm not sure. But we've definitely spent long hours replaying the game now. And yeah, we really enjoy it. And we're just looking forward to finding ways to bringing it into the 21st century as well.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was going to say, there's probably hopefully a lot of people who never played Master of Magic watching this right now. So can you tell us what it is and how it plays, what it is at its core?
Yeah, so essentially it is a 10-based strategy game. So in that way, it's all about building the cities, managing your armies, conquering your enemies. But actually, I think what makes Master of Magic different and special is that you take on the role of a wizard, and the way you really win the game is through the accumulation of power, of mana, of researching spells, and then using those spells in so many different weird ways against your enemy. So every playthrough you can come up with these new wonderful ways to outsmart the other wizards. So I think that's really the key for us of what makes Master of Magic a bit different.
Yeah, you're mentioning wizards. How do you choose which wizard to use, and can you tell us a bit more about these playable figures?
Yeah, so there's going to be 14 wizards back from the original in our version too, and so they all have their own little backstory and that sort of thing. So you've got Merlin, who's your classical quintessential wizard, and oh, there we go, Merlin. And you've got all sorts of others. Even we've got Demon, we've got all sorts. But as you choose them when you start the game, you can actually customize them a lot. So you choose the race that this wizard will be in charge of when you begin the game. You choose the magic books that they will wield, and that will then determine the spells that they can research and eventually cast. So there is a lot of room for customization, even though you have these 14 preset wizards.
Yeah, you're rightly saying about the race you attach your wizards to. So how does it work, and what are the races that are in the game?
Yeah, so again, there's I believe also 14 races back from the originals, and what it is you choose the initial race that you will start with. So you start with one city and this one race, and those races range from elves, dwarves, halflings to gnolls or clacons, which are a bit more unusual. And they all have bonuses that will change your gameplay. Just on top of my head, Draconians have the ability to fly. Therefore, you won't have to worry about traveling through difficult terrain or even water, and that will change your gameplay, especially at the start. You can, of course, later conquer cities of other races, so you can end up with many, many different ones, but that first choice will determine how you begin your game.
Right. So, of course, you said the super core of the game is the magic. Tell us a bit more about how the magical spell books work, and how do you feature into the game?
Yeah, so you've got 5 different, let's say, schools of magic to begin with, and you can either choose to specialize in one, or you can mix and match them. But depending on how many books you have in each school of magic, that will give you access to more or less spells from that particular school. So that does determine a lot. So some people will prefer to be very specialized, and they can achieve the top tier spells of, say, life. The school of life, and then others might choose to have 3 different schools and just play around with it. So they'll only reach kind of medium level spells, but then they'll have 3 different varieties, so they can play around with that. That's the flavor of the books, and then of course magic is all important throughout the gameplay. So you can use magic in battle, which is your standard way that you would expect against enemy forces. But then when you zoom out and you're on your strategy map, you actually have global spells. So you can say block travel between the 2 planes. You can attack your enemy's cities directly from your spell book. So again, I think that's what makes Master of Magic different and special, is that you can really blast those spells out in those 2 different areas.
2 levels, right? So there's the strategic layer and the tactical layer. How do you play between these 2, and what are the difference between these 2 layers?
Yeah, so on your strategy layer, that's when you plan your advances, and for example, you can do diplomacy with the other wizards. You can assign mana points, whether you want to do more research on your spells, or whether you want to have more power to actually cast your spells, and so on. And like I said, you have global spells and things you can do on the map. Send your units out to explore the world, find places of interest where you can gather loot and other things like that. And then once you actually enter into such areas of interest, or when you want to conquer, say, other wizards' cities, that's when you go into the tactical map, and then you have your 3D battles with your units set up against the enemy. And that's how the fighting happens.
Yeah, you mentioned before the different planes, right? How do you play between? How do you go from one and the other, and what their role is in the game?
Yeah, so the 2 planes are Arcanus and Mirror, and the idea is Arcanus is more of your kind of neutral zone, whereas Mirror is we kind of call it its dark evil twin. So it's the difficulty level, as it were, in terms of gameplay is slightly higher in Mirror, and you have to actually buy a special trait when you choose your wizard in order to be able to begin in Mirror. But then the rewards are also slightly better because you started with this higher level of difficulty. And the way you travel between the two planes, well, there's a couple of ways actually. One is through special towers that are set around the world. There's 6 of them, and you can also have spells. As with everything with Master of Magic, you can do anything with spells. So you can actually give your units the ability to travel between planes.
Yeah, one of the things, Mila, I mentioned at the beginning is Muha Games, right? You're one of the, I guess, emerging teams in the, and although you've got already 2 very solid games under your belt, and you've got a lot of fans out there. So, we discussed a lot about, telling your fans what you were going to do next. So what are your fans gonna be expecting from this game?
So I can already see them going a bit crazy on our Discord channel. So luckily, I think they're happy that we're doing this, and I think they could expect. I mean, obviously, these are games that are different in some ways, but there's so many similarities. So it's both are strategy games at the core. You've got the 4X elements, so you've got your exploration, extermination, expansion, and so on. And you've got the very, very strong fantasy and magic core. Which is also something that our fans will recognize. And also, I was thinking about it today, is that the choice of wizards at the start of Master of Magic is actually quite similar in some ways to our gods in Thea too. So there's that concept of the player becoming this kind of great avatar, and then controlling the units on the ground. So I think these will be the things that hopefully our fans will recognize, and then we'll see where we can take it from there, because I can't really disclose too much of what our plans are for the future of Master of Magic. But yeah, I think our fans hopefully will be happy.
I'm sure they will, and talk about your fans, and then on the other hand, of course, you've got the Master of Magic fans. So we've gone through a lot of the stuff that already is the heritage of the game. What is it that you're trying or willing to change from the original Master of Magic?
That's also a complex question, but I think the first things that will become quite obvious is we've changed to hexes, so that's the big change that everyone will notice, and just the general the UI, the artwork. So all of the wizards, the races, the heroes and champions, they're all coming back to Master of Magic, but they all got a huge facelift. So we've got great teams of artists remaking these characters and these peoples into something new, and so we hope it will feel like they come from the original, but they've got a kind of a modern twist to them. We also want to do a lot of modding in Master of Magic, so I think that's something that's our addition that we hope is going to make the game really good. So Cash, our programmer, is working really hard on making almost every aspect of Master of Magic moddable. So I think that would be something cool.
That's absolutely true, and that's really one of the cool things about being trying to build a modern game, right? Being able to give the power to the community to create their own content. That's absolutely spot on. Mila, where are you in the development schedule? I think that I can't see the chat, but I can tell for sure that somebody's probably asking. So where are you in the development schedule right now?
I would say we're still in the pre-alpha stages. We hope to go into alpha quite soon, but we're not quite there yet. But I think the next few months there will be rapid changes, and so hopefully there'll be a lot of news to share.
Right. Mila, is there anything else you want to say to either your community, because you see them excited, or to the Master of Magic community? Anything else? Any final word you want to share?
Yeah, just to everyone who's excited about Master of Magic, I hope that we'll live up to the expectations, and we people that know us as Mucha know that we stay very connected to our community, and so we hope to meet you soon, the new fans, and hopefully together we can work to make this an awesome game.
Thank you very much, Mila. It's been a great pleasure to have you on the stage today, on the virtual stage today, and I'm sure we'll get back to seeing you around for updates very, very soon. So thanks for joining us. So you've seen Master of Magic. We're very proud, of course, of this one, and we wanted to start with something that, you know, we wanted desperately since a long time. We prepared this for a long time. We really wanted the next Master of Magic to be a real tribute to the original. And you know, partnering with Mucha Games means that we really care about the franchise. We really wanted to go with someone with a passion and interest towards the topic that was really able to deliver on the mission. So that's really the message we want to give about Master of Magic, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of fans out there will be pleased about the news.